Welcome, traders. Today is January 24th, and we are going to go over an iceberg order that occurred last week and why an iceberg order exists and what you may or may not want to think about that. I also had a live trade today that I recorded, and because it falls into the same category of chart reading that the iceberg order does, I'm going to include that in this video because I get a lot of requests for live trades. So a week ago on January 17th at about 10 a.m. in the morning, saw an unusually large iceberg sell order go off. Now, for those who don't know what an iceberg order is, it is basically a hidden order where the person making it has to pay a small amount extra in order to keep that order hidden. They want to do that so they don't spook or spoof the market, and they want to see their order filled. Now, Bookmap about 3 years ago, began offering an add-in for stops and icebergs. And what Bookmap is doing is they are using the rhythmic MBO, which stands for market by order information, in order to show on Bookmap when icebergs have gone off. And what I've done is, if you go to the ZoneTraderPro video page, I created a video back on July 13th, 2021 about identifying iceberg orders using my KP2 ratio. Now, when I talk to somebody or I train somebody, I tell them that, to me, the most important indicator I have is this right here, which is the KP2 ratio. The KP2 ratio, in a nutshell, is showing you either support or resistance. So as the line is going up right here, that is resistance. And if the line is going down here, that is generally support. And what is happening in this case, the limit orders are being pulled, and that's what reduces the ratio from originally a very high number of about 450 to just under 186 by the time it reaches this high. And the idea and the theory behind it is this: if you were going to go into a short trade here, what you would want to see is this. You'd want to see the resistance. However, if you were in a short trade and you saw this indicator declining like it is here, you would understand that sellers are pulling their limit orders because they believe the market is going to go much higher. Now, this occurred over just a period of probably less than a minute, and it was probably about a 5,000 lot iceberg order. Now, to give you some kind of reference about what happened after that iceberg order, the market traded up almost 15 points. And as you can see, the VIX Bloodhound template was green going into the iceberg order. So I also marked the add chart because the add chart has the VIX displayed here, and we can see going into that trade that the VIX was quite clearly falling very rapidly. Now, here is the reason for this video, is not to really say that here's somebody trading 500 lots short in an iceberg order is something that you should do, because I don't believe it is something you should do. And this would be the argument, and probably why I no longer use Bookmap anymore and no longer pay for the stops and icebergs indicator that Bookmap offers. When this person was making the trade, or any Iceberg order that is going off, the order is hidden, and it's hidden for a reason. They want to get a trade accomplished. The problem is that my indicator right here, which is showing a tremendous amount of resistance until the order had been completely filled, is showing you just that. It's showing you the resistance from the Iceberg order. But we didn't know the intention of the person selling those 5,000 contracts. We don't know if that person's intention was because he thought the market was going to trade lower, in which case, yeah, we would want to trade with him. We don't know if his intention was to sell 5,000 lots because he had bought those 5,000 back at 3,900 and now he's looking to take profit at this point. Or there actually exists a third possibility, and that is that somebody is trying to accomplish a long-term position or hedge using the ES futures, which is what the ES futures were created for. Now, the point is that ZoneTraderPro was picking up the fact that we were in an extremely bullish environment here, and it was also picking up the resistance, and then it picked up the lack of resistance, giving us the possibility of a trade as we got the pullback here. But what ZoneTraderPro can't tell us and what Bookmap can't tell us is that this is a trade that we should be entering short. You need to have rules before you go and execute a trade. And clearly, if we had executed a short trade here, we have been immediately stopped out since we didn't know the intention of this seller. That isn't a good enough trading reason, in my opinion, to take a short trade from there. So I come back to the point of the video, which is not necessarily what is an iceberg and is it important, but what is important about this KP2 ratio and what is important about the VIX down here. So why is this important, and how would you apply it on a real life trading chart? Well, go back to this example. When somebody purchases ZoneTraderPro, I provide them personal training, and the first thing that I train somebody on is what is a pattern. So a pattern is created when price moves between these zones. And we have a pattern being created right here, which I call the strong trend reversal. In a strong trend or a strong trend reversal, what normally happens is that we retrace to an area that I call minor support, and then the trend continues. One of the things I also tell anybody that is learning the software is that strong trends represent additional risk and potentially less reward. So that is why it is important to understand whether or not you are in a strong trend. So here's an example of having created a strong trend over here and that strong trend failing and creating the strong trend that was short. So that's an example of the additional risk, because we could actually trade down to, which is about 3 or 4 points lower, and still get a trade on the long side. Now, this trade here was quite unusual in that we had red VIX telling us to not go long at a apex high. That is unusual. So we wouldn't have been looking to take a trade anywhere for any reason inside here. As we got to this strong trend reversal, what could have guided us would have been, whether or not we wanted to take it or not, could have guided us would have been the KP2 ratio. So I've marked in green here the area that the buyers came in and actually supported it. They supported it to this point here. And then the reason we entered such a strong trend on the short side is that the buyers lifted their limit order support, and what happened is the ratio rose, which is indicative of resistance. So going into this trade here, we had basically a resistance pattern being shown on the KP2 ratio. Then as we entered these trades here, we had extremely high numbers indicative of distribution ratios when price made their retracements. Additionally, on this trade here, as you can see, we had distribution divergence as an additional signal, and you can see the sell-off continue. As you can see right here, again, here is a strong trend trade that was good for almost 7 points. And again, you see the pattern retracing to the minor resistance, again retracing to the minor resistance, and the trend resuming. And all we have to do is look down to our KP2 ratio on the support side, and on all of these moves down, we never saw any support until this move down right there. That was the first sign of support. On these other moves down, the numbers either rose or it went straight across, which was not indicating any support. So let's take a look at the trade I did today and how I got in it and what the eventual result is going to be. And then I'm going to play the trade live with my comments. I was short from 40.36 right about here. And as you can see, going into this high again, we made this strong trend here. And again, very unusual that at the apex, the VIX was negative. We can see that we had a rising KP2 into this. And when we made basically an exhaustion pattern right here, that was the reason for my trade. Now, initially the trade went well, and something very weird happened in here. There was a huge amount of trading that took place here, basically over a 15-20 minute period. And during that period, there was a buy delta of around 2,500 contracts, which is a very large amount. And we could see that price was just going sideways in this area between 40.35 and 40.33. It was a very long time. And if you were just looking at cumulative delta, if that's the only thing you had to look at, well, you would be seeing a lot of buying. But if you were looking at the KP2 ratio, you would see that there was limit order resistance this entire time, up into the point where we have a reversal trading pattern, which you see here. And for a moment, I was a tick or two underwater here, but maintained the trade because of what I saw here. And you'll notice my comments as I go live. What is also very important to remember about the live video is that I am not giving trading advice. I'm giving my opinions as they occurred live. Additionally, as we all know, past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. So with the disclaimers out of the way, let's go ahead and watch the live video. It runs for about 10 minutes, and I'm not going to speed it up or edit it because a lot of people have asked to see live trades tick by tick, and I don't want to speed this up. I started recording this live trade right here because it's something that is so unusual that I wanted to highlight it. I'm short here from 40.36, and what is so unusual is that starting back here, the delta has increased by something like 2,000 contracts, but price really hasn't moved significantly higher. What you also see is the KP2 ratio, which is the measure of resistance, coming in and basically stopping the move higher. And during this entire time, the VIX has just been going straight up on our $ ad chart, and the Bloodhound template with the ad in it is also red, along with the ES and SPY. We also see that the cumulative delta here on the sell-off in the SPY is also positive by a 144,000 shares. And normally the opinion is going to be that if they are long that many shares, then you probably want to be exiting your short trade. However, we see the same phenomenon over here with the KP2 ratio on the new SPY indicator, again showing us a tremendous amount of resistance coming in the form of limit orders and in effect suppressing price. Now I am targeting 40, 30, and 50, which is right here, slightly above my support zone. And finally, we have a turn in the delta. And again, what we see in real time is the special divergence indicator letting us know that they are positive 619 shares. But what we really want to keep an eye on is what's happening over here on the VIX. And basically we now have the VIX going green on both charts with distribution divergence on both charts and special divergence on the SPY chart. So again, with the combination of divergences and the amount of resistance that's already put in, I'm going to stick with this just a little while longer and see if we can make it down to my target. Because what we have as far as a pattern goes is a reversal pattern on the two charts, and the combination of three different divergences makes me want to stay with this. This is going to work out to be a really nice trade. That's probably going to go further than 40.30 because of all the buyers that are trapped between 40.33 and 40.35. If it takes it down to 40.30, they're going to be getting stopped out. There's almost 2,500 contracts bought on the delta in that consolidation period from 1511 to 1530 in that 20-minute consolidation. We do have the VIX ticking up now. Feeling a little more comfortable now that both of our bloodhound indicators are showing red. The bloodhound indicator on the SPY chart, which is the chart on the left here, is my preferred chart, and that is the one with the UVXY. Again, as we come down and test the low, we have a double divergence of both accumulation that we just lost and special divergence. But I have the feeling that people are getting stopped out right now, and I would like to see my target hit 2 ticks from now. Again, we are ticking up on the VIX and ticking up on the ES, which is unusual. For a moment there, we did see 30-50 trade.
Target filled.
And target filled and done for the day with a nice profit. And just as a little follow-up to that trade, about 5 or 6 minutes after I closed it, you can see we've already traded down another 8 points from that point. So the analysis of the large number of longs that got trapped up here between 40.35 and 40.33 was pretty much correct. They've all gotten stopped out, and we traded all the way down to 40.22. So all in all, a nice trade, a nice day.